Hey, welcome to another episode of Venture Prince. I'm your host, Eric Fady, and this is a YouTube series where I dive into some of I feel the cooler photos I've taken over the years. I've been into photography most of my adult life, ever since I took a graphic arts class in high school where I learned to use a darkroom, took a few classes in community college as well, and been just super into photos, like I said, most of my life. I have but a challenge, given a challenge to myself where I wanted to try to see what could happen if I've never taken my Instagram as seriously as I wish I would have. So I wanted to post regularly, and I felt like if I did that, it'd be kind of an interesting experiment to see what would happen if put out little YouTube videos along with the photos I'm posting each week onto my Instagram, where I just give a little more background to them. I'm very nerdy in that aspect. When I look at photos, when I look back at my own photos, I regularly like to think about when it was and where I was and what was going on behind the scenes. That's just kind of how I look at them. I try to think of just like I said, what was kind of going on, what was happening behind the camera, if you will. And so that's kind of what this YouTube series is, Venture Prince. I've done a different intro to every episode as I've not created a standard intro, which has caused some annoyance on my end. Like I need to create an intro probably for it, but I just haven't liked anything I've done yet. So I keep doing it every time. And most of the time it works out well, but sometimes it takes me about 5 times to create the intro. But this one seems to be working so far right now. So you're stuck with this episode now. I'm not going back and redoing this intro. So here we are, episode number blank of Venture Prince. As I said, all these episodes correspond with an Instagram post that I post. The episodes are on Tuesday, Thursday here on YouTube. I post that same image on my Instagram, which is Venturecast. Let's get to it. So this photo this week, I mentioned this and I've mentioned this several times, but these are going in. This one on the Thursday episodes for now are going in order of images I enjoyed from my trip around the country in 2022. Me and a few buddies of mine got in a minivan, drove around America, and tried to perform stand-up comedy in all 50 states. But along the way, I took some photos that I thought were kind of cool. This one was taken Wednesday, February 2nd at 6:41 a.m. It's a common theme for a lot of these images that I've mentioned before. I'm a morning person. I wake up super early. And so, especially here, we were staying, and I'll get into it a little more, but 6:41 a.m. on the Panama City beach in Panama City, Florida. And to get a little more context of that. So, yeah, I'm a morning person. We were on this trip. I was so lucky at times to have some friends hook us up with some cool places to stay, and this was one of them. We had 4 days, I believe it was, right on the beach, right on the ocean at Panama City, Florida. Now it wasn't the February time, so it's funny when you go to these places like Panama City in February, early February, and no one's really there. You know what I mean? Most people probably know where Panama City is, but here's the screenshot that shows in, and I do like this. This is kind of self-involved, but I enjoy when I look at these screenshots and I see all the little dots of places I've taken photos because that's kind of cool to me. I like travel. Travel is one of my absolute favorite things to do in the world, other than make people laugh through comedy and photography, of course. So here you go. Like I said, most people probably know where Panama City is, but if you don't, if you're not familiar, there's Pensacola, Florida. Panama City is in Florida, but it is far west in Florida in the Panhandle, and it's way different. It's a very different vibe than the Florida some people might be used to. If you've not gone to the Panhandle of Florida, it's not exactly the same as going to Tampa or Orlando, for sure. And yeah, we were there at an off-season time, so it was rather dead. But image, I loved getting up in the morning and taking photos of the sunrise and the sunset in the evening as well. And we had a great comedy show in Panama City that went super well, which was nice. We were lucky enough to be staying right on the water via a longtime family friend who had a hookup, which was super cool. There was at one night there was even a lightning storm, and it had floor to ceiling windows in the kitchen area, and I just sat out there and watched the lightning strike around the ocean, which was crazy cool. I took a lot of photos, as you can see, kind of by the area, all these little purple dots. So we're getting closer and closer into where I took this photo, right on the ocean. And let's get back into the photo. There it is. And I really enjoy trying to try to do different angles and stuff, because 'cause I'm just taking photos on an iPhone. I don't have anything special. So how I have to almost make up for that, I feel like it's a really get good on the angles and the lighting and the depth, or just back, or, focus on things. So what I really like to do, I was sitting here right on the sand, and I wanted to get to where this little, wave, not even a wave at that point, just the water coming in, but in focus, and then have the sun starting to come up over the water. So, like, I mean, this is not a wave, but it's like, I mean, I guess it is, but I mean, this might be an inch, you know. So I thought this was super cool, and it's kind of coming across the screen. It goes as if it keeps going, which it does. The sand right in front of it is really cool. The sun was just starting to rise at 6:41 a.m. And so I really like shots like this. I love the ocean, but it was harder for me, I felt like, with the camera I have, because I don't have as good of a camera to capture some of the waves. So again, for me, it's almost like, to make up for that, I have to do like zoomed up shots and really get like a cool angle or a cool focus. And I kind of have in focus in the middle of the photo is this little bit of water just coming up onto the beach. A stupid story that has nothing to do with the photo, but we were there, and it was really still pretty cold out for February. Just because it was Florida didn't mean it was warm in February, on February 5th. And so we had saw that they had a midday um, karaoke, and we thought that's really cool. We all like karaoke. And so, why not try that? It's kind of cool. It's in the middle of the day, so it doesn't affect with our comedy and stuff like that. And I don't like to stay up late. There's that too. And we walked about a mile down the beach, maybe even more, a mile down the beach. Here's a little more just zooming in from the screenshot of where the photo is taken. And we got all the way there, and it turned out like we should have realized, for any karaoke that would be in the middle of the week from 3 to 5, it was like a senior citizens day, which is fine and great for these senior citizens to be doing karaoke. Love it. Wasn't really what we were looking for. And I was really tired, and we ended up just turning around and going back. And it was the first, we'd been on the road for a month, and it was the first kind of bickering we had, because none of us could decide whether we should stay or go. And we ended up going and walking back, and then we thought about getting an Uber, but the Uber, none of us wanted to pay money for an Uber, so we just walked back. And it was, but in the end, we all decided it was the right call, even though at the moment there was some tension around it. So yeah, that was, Panama City, Florida, from the comedy trip. The comedy went really well in Panama City. But here is back to the photo that was taken again Wednesday, February 2nd at 6:41 a.m. And this is my sister actually made a book for me as a Christmas present of some of the cool photos I'd taken along the trip, and this made it into that book, and I've always really enjoyed it. So, hey, that was it for this episode of Venture Prince. I have said, like before, that people are starting to watch a little more, a few more subscribers onto the channel. Appreciate that. Please, if you're watching these and enjoy them, share the word. That's the only way more people find out about it. All these photos are on my Instagram as well. I said that these episodes air Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. on YouTube, and they correspond with the Instagram post at eVentureCast on Instagram. I also do a podcast where I've talked about this comedy trip and did episodes from the road, also, and including my last few years working up on a touristy island in northern Michigan called Mackinac Island, famous for not having any cars, horses and bikes only, and a lot of fudge. And I've worked with a few horses the last 3 summers. So if you want, I also have a Patreon page that has hundreds of videos and podcasts that talk about the working on Mackinac Island, videos from being on the road on a comedy trip. That's eVentureCast on Patreon, and pretty affordable prices as far as the memberships go. I'm on Instagram. All these photos are for purchase, but I love comments. I hope would love to get to a point where people can comment below some of these videos and tell me what you think, or even share some of your own photos in the comments, and photos you're kind of proud of that you've taken, and that'd be cool too. I love looking at photography, even if it's not my own. So that's it for another episode of Venture Prince. Hey, we made it into February, guys. Yeah, for the few people that have watched every episode, we did it a full month. When it comes to doing something like this, I challenge myself to do this for all of 2026. Uh, I think making it a full month, uh, I'm in it now, you know what I mean? And that's I've kinda got over the hump of the hard part. So let's keep it going next Tuesday and every Tuesday and Thursday here on YouTube. Thanks so much. See ya.